Thank you. Hi guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about a mystery that is well known to the scientific community all over the world, but that few of us know is actually a mystery. In general, at school we studied blood groups, and we know that they are also classified as either rhesus positive or rhesus negative. What we are not told, however, is that there is no plausible scientific explanation for the existence of the rhesus negative blood group. Orthodox science has hypothesized that it is an unidentified genetic mutation, but this seems unlikely, also because blood is one of the factors least susceptible to mutations. So why does the rhesus negative blood group exist? Where does it come from? How can we explain it? In this video, I'll tell you about one of the hypotheses that has been proposed. A hypothesis that we can hardly accept using logic, and what we've always been told about our origins and about human evolution in general, but it's worth illustrating. However, I want to emphasize that I won't present it to you as an absolute reality, but only as one of the explanations suggested by some less conventional scholars. So here is the great mystery of rhesus negative blood. Let's start by saying that the most common blood type on Earth is type O, which is universal. Blood types are divided into two groups, positive and negative, based on the rhesus factor. This factor is called that because it is linked to the genetic connection between humans and monkeys, which can be identified by a specific blood protein. When this protein is present in the blood, it is called rhesus positive. When it is not present, it is called rhesus negative. In general, about 85% of people in the world have rhesus positive blood. So we can say that humans evolved from primates. However, that remaining 15% with rhesus negative blood, logically, cannot be descended from primates. So where does it come from? Let's continue with our analysis. According to some studies, it has been hypothesized that rhesus negative blood appeared on our planet about 35,000 years ago. And in some specific areas, for example, in northern Spain, southern France, and among the Basque ethnic group, the Jewish ethnic group from the east would also have had this type of blood. It almost seems as if this factor was introduced later into the human genetic code. But by whom? Orthodox science, as we were saying, justifies the fact by attributing it to a genetic mutation which, although unusual, created another type of blood. But if the rhesus negative blood group were normal, what should we attribute the complications to that arise when a mother with rhesus negative blood gives birth to a child with a rhesus positive blood group? In fact, in this case, an allergic reaction arises that can have very serious consequences when the two types of blood mix during pregnancy. In fact, the antigenic substances present in the rhesus negative type attack the cells of the rhesus positive type. It's a bit as if there is a sort of genetic struggle between two types of blood that are both human. This is also unexplainable. And this is where the mystery deepens, and we can start referring to the theory that has been developed. Let's start with an example that is often cited when talking about this theory. A problem of this kind exists only in one other case in nature. That is, when we cross donkeys and horses to produce mules. We know that this cross is not natural. It doesn't exist in the wild. For it to happen, man had to intervene. So the question is, what if they did the same thing with us? That is it possible that there are two types of human beings who are similar but genetically different? To be even clearer, is it possible that an alien species deliberately manipulated life on this planet to create modern man? I realize that, at first glance, this statement seems really foolish, and in fact, I'm not here to defend it blindly. I myself have many doubts about it, and I find it hard to believe. But when I first came into contact with this theory just a few days ago, at the very least, it made me think. Many ancient texts, including the Bible, refer to what is called a lineage that came from the sky. That would have made man in its image. Primitive man considered them deities capable of performing real miracles, such as flying or building monuments. The various myths that have come down to us speak of masters of aviation metallurgy, astronomy and medicine, as well as genetics. In short, these texts really seem to refer to beings who later arrived on Earth and may have intervened to change our genetics. We have already seen what happens when two genetically similar but not identical species are crossed. Supporters of this theory, therefore, attribute the origin of the Rh negative blood group precisely to the intervention of these beings not from our planet, who in general did not cause major changes in our physical appearance, but left traces of their intervention in our blood. As I was saying, this theory may seem absolutely bizarre and far-fetched, especially since there is apparently no solid evidence that an extraterrestrial civilization has arrived on Earth. However, this doubt remains a mystery that, despite science's efforts, cannot currently be explained with available means. Reducing everything to an anomalous genetic mutation seems a bit too simplistic to me. There is no evidence of the existence of other forms of life in the universe, but there is also no logical explanation for the development of the blood group, Rh negative. Well, the logical explanation could be that random genetic mutation of the blood, and I think for now we'll have to stick with that to avoid falling into a science fiction scenario. At this point, though, as always, I'll hand it over to you. First of all, were you aware of this? That is, that the Rh negative blood type is still something science can't explain. Secondly, are you more inclined to think it was a genetic mutation, or could there really have been extraterrestrial intervention? Let me know in a comment. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, or share it with your friends. See you in the next video, l'inspiegabile.